Hi guys, I'm back. Where did I leave off? I'm looking at my paperwork for my long-term disability claim. It's crazy, man. This is how much medical records I had in the last 9 months. Well, it was 6 months worth. How many times I saw a doctor. So it will help me kind of keep on track. So kind of going back to the ulcer, at that point, everything else was kind of irrelevant. I was following up with my rheumatologist. We had started Benlysta, which is an auto-injection shot. It is B-cell focused, and so it's different than other autoimmune drugs, because other autoimmune drugs would have eaten my ulcers alive. Again, and I would have been croaked. So he got that approved, and I started that injection. I stopped all ibuprofens, aspirins, prednisones, anything that could disrupt the gut for the rest of my life. I was on lockdown from that point on. But then I had significant pain, so I came off a Dilaudid drip for like 6 days. Right, I couldn't even eat. Well, I got a popsicle every 8 hours, and then they'd suck it back out of my energy, like a freak. But that's all I got to eat. So like I was so used to my pain being managed very proficiently, because I was one managing it. I had the button to I think it was like oxycodone or something like that. But I was like, holy shit, this hurts bad. But it wasn't, I wore like a binder. It wasn't anything I couldn't manage. It was more like laughing at my family, or like things like that like brought me joy again, that like would remind me that it hurt. It wasn't anything that I couldn't do. I didn't drive for 2 weeks. I had my niece take me around to be responsible. Don't drive on painkillers. To pick up Vivi from school. Viv had a hard time with it, which is still a touchy subject for me. Viv was 4 at the time, and obviously that has significant impact on a child when they see their mother being carted away by an ambulance, screaming that they're going to die. So that was a very vivid memory for her. She's very protective of my stomach, and it's still, we talk about it very concretely. Mommy's got lupus. That doesn't mean mommy doesn't want to play with you, or mommy doesn't like hanging out with you. It just means mommy's got this icky, gross sickness that makes her tired. So trying to make it into plain terms so that she understands it's not her, it's me. But then so discoid lupus is a skin form of lupus that presents in like almost like, I don't even know, like ulcers on your face. I got one. So I always forget which side. This probably was the 7th time that it showed up. So mine, and it's, my rheumatologist always said, he's like, God, you got the weirdest type. Like, it's bizarre that it would show up in the same place consistently. And it would get like my glands infected, and it would just always wreak havoc. And they last like a month. And they're just disgusting. They're like, ugh. Who wants to see that? Not me. I wore like princess band-aids on my face, so I'm so embarrassed. But this last time, because I was in the hospital when it started forming, unfortunately, obviously that wasn't our focus of care. Who gave a shit about that when we had all this stuff going on? My breathing tubes in the hospital actually sat on where the ulcer was forming. The ulcer, I point here, and so I ended up getting MRSA on my face, which blew, because I saw the dermatologist. I saw my rheumatologist, and he was like, "Don't like your face. You're going to the dermatologist tomorrow." They thought basal cell cancer. I'm like, fuck. Well, free plastic surgery, at least. Whatever, that can be easily checked off the list. And then it came back as MRSA. I'm like, what the fuck? How much game? And I think I sat down with Paul and just said, what? Why don't we just cut it out? Can that work? I would rather cut it out and live with a scar than keep these reoccurring infections on my face. If it's one place consistently, it doesn't make sense. We consulted with the best plastic surgeon he would recommend, and we came up with an idea of, let's roll the dice. Why not? At this point, I'm young enough where my skin will stretch out. But I don't want to live with ulcers on my face. I'd rather live with a scar. Like, it's not about the scars. It was about my health because my glands would get swollen and then I get a fever. I mean, just, it's really hard to protect your face from infection because your hands touch it, pillows touch. I mean, there's just so much. And when you have an autoimmune disease, things just affect you all the time. So I think people were like, why are you doing that? You can't even see it. And I'm like, yeah, you can't see it now because I covered up with makeup. But you just wait. It looks delicious. So they ended up cutting like almost like a football size shape, and I'll post them in the video. It's like a football size they took out. So my plastic surgeon joked, well, I don't think he's even joking. He's like, potentially you could wake up and you could be like this. I'm like, oh my God, what? I didn't, but I woke up with external stitches, and tape for a week. I had pulled out my hair extensions the night before. He did a great job, as you can tell. Really clean. I haven't had, knock on wood, of reoccurrence of the discoid lesion. So we're hoping that solved that problem. Never say never. That was hard for my daughter. That was on Halloween. I had that procedure done. I missed Halloween. And she was really worried about me going to surgery because last time I went to surgery, what happened? Well, I didn't come home for a week and a half. So, and I had fears. I mean, nobody wants to go back into that same OR. That was the third time in 6 months. I started crying, you know. So yeah, so then that barrier had been hit. After that, so after that, I had gotten new insurance. I went on my husband's insurance, and his insurance wanted to pick a fight with me because they wanted to stop covering my standard treatment, which is my Benlysta shots. So I'd been on my Benlysta shots for 3 months, and it takes about 3 to 6 months for them to work. And they said, no, we're not paying for them. Turns out market price to pay out of pocket for these shots, and these shots are once a week. It's around $4,000 to pay with no insurance. So it's typically, I mean, no matter, I don't care how much money you have. If you're paying $50,000 out of pocket on shots, you're crazy. That's just nuts. But insurance refused. There's no generic version for it. It's the only FDA approved drug. And so my provider, due to his duty to provide care, had to recommend the next best course of treatment, which was methotrexate, which was injections of chemotherapy every week. Me and my husband fought very, very, very hardly against this. We battled it. Was it good for my health, or would I be shortening my quality of life and not gaining any quantity? That's kind of what my mind frame is about, is quality versus quantity at this point. And he was dead set on with me, like, no, this doesn't feel right. We know there's a drug out there that works for you. Why would an insurance company think that they get to change your course and treatment based on what? So he became like my biggest advocate. God bless him. He was like getting a voice in it. He got really upset. For him, I think that was his way of seeing the concrete way of like, these are the ways that I consistently am getting screwed over, right? It's not really screwed over. It's just how the system works. It's not really anyone's fault. It's just the way that it is. Unfortunately, I am the perfect storm to hit every single one of those barriers. And I did. I had to fight. And, his mind was blown that this could happen. And so we got to a point where we're like, can't hurt to try, It just became a joke. Because these things that you think won't ever happen or aren't applicable to you, like reducing drug care costs because the prices of drug care, yeah, that matters. Because when your child has got to pay for even out-of-pocket costs, it's still $2,000 something I had to pay for my first 2 shots and hit my out-of-pocket max. I mean, it is still relevant in our lives. And if it's not covered, my mother, God bless her soul, Paula Hutton, I probably spent 70 calls on the phone with my specialty pharmacy. They'd send them to me in a cooler. At one point, she's on the phone, she's saying, here's my freaking credit card. Charge me the price, send me the shots. Next day, you charged me for the shots, but you didn't send. It's maddening. It is absolutely maddening because you feel like you're fighting for something that you shouldn't have to fight for to begin with. But yet you're fighting a disease. So it's really, you're fighting for a drug so that you get healthy, but you're fighting the system for the drug to get you healthy so that you can go back and start living an actual life. But the system won't let you actually live a life because they won't let you be on disability. So it was like a catch-22 of like this, all these balls in the air. Like, okay, I'm not on any drugs, but they are denying my disability claims, saying that I'm perfectly healthy to go back to work. No, I gotta be on my drugs. And they ripped those out. I was like, these things that just kept happening were just, I can't even tell you the things that me and my husband thought of to like try to make our lives, because it's been the shittiest year of our life. And best, I think. We talked about getting divorced. Not for the purpose of just being able to access medical assistance. I mean, I called the governor. I started fighting. Man, you don't want to mess with me, because I just became, I don't think it's a bully. I think I just became so enraged with being hit with the wrong that I was so determined to do the right. No matter what situation I was in. I had started from the beginning in April of doing something that, had negative impacts, but it was for the right reasons on me still. I was going to do the right thing. And I wasn't going to stop. I always said to people, I'm not going to stop doing the right thing now. I'm not going to give up now. I mean, then everything gone to waste. I want to be able to leave. If this is going to suck for me, if this is going to leave a memory on my daughter, I want her memory to at least be backed up by her father saying, yeah, she fought like shit to do the right thing. She fought for her care. I didn't want it to be me. I didn't want it to be on me, because it's already on me that I have the disease. I wanted them to know that it's a full-time job. Just fighting for the drugs, fighting for the insurance. 3 appointments a day. I mean, it's a full-time job. And to be sick at the same time. People don't see you typically during the day because I'm home, right, doing this stuff. And so they think, I've had comments, you're on vacation. When did you ever go off vacation? It must be nice to just sit around and, what'd you do today? If I could give you my life, I'd give it to you in a heartbeat. I would take yours. I wouldn't trade this body to my worst nightmare. I don't say that to get pity. It's the truth of the matter. This disease is horrific. It's chronic. It's lifelong. It's not anything that, there's nothing. I don't foresee my future with lupus and think they're going to find something that's going to cure it. No. I know how this progression works. It's a secondary infection of, my lungs or my kidneys and dialysis. I mean, there's lots of different paths. A lot of cardiac. I mean, our statistics for cancer and rates of, secondary complications are 4 times double than the human. And I'm okay. I mean, I get that. It doesn't bug me. But I sure as hell don't think that people understand that. So I think a lot of people, once you deal with a life-altering situation with your family member who almost croaked on you, right? I can understand where people would want to put up some walls and kind of be like, that was a tough one. I'm going to take a little break skis from Katie. Because it just got worse for me. It didn't get easier. And I think for a lot of people, they struggled because it was me voicing my feelings, because that's what I had learned to communicate what was going on in my life, right? Because stuffing it was going to cause me ulcers. So I just communicated. And for specifically, I hope my mom's okay with this. She's a fixer. She wants to fix it. That's what she knows. She's good at it. She can fix things. Okay, let's make a game plan. There was nothing that anybody could fix. No amount of money could fix. I mean, it was just, hear me. Hear my concerns. Hear my worries. It's a roller coaster. Some days I feel great. Some days I'm empowered. Some days I feel really shitty. And I wonder, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And then it changes the next day. I mean, shit, I can't predict anything anymore with this disease. I don't try to either. I just let it run its course and I tell people, okay, well, I hope I can make it. I mean, I don't have any control over this disease. If I did, you don't think I would be out enjoying my life instead of sitting on this damn couch talking to this computer about my fucking life? Probably not. But I think I found my purpose in life, and that may be the silver lining. I haven't. Stay tuned. But that's when I started my social media pretty early on because I didn't have a way to talk about my medical health. I felt like I was bothering people or that they heard it enough. I wanted people to not pity me, but I wanted people to understand too. So I guess for me, I rationed this Facebook video blog thing, right? Where I could video blog my actual emotions in the story. People who wanted to could listen to it. If you didn't want to listen to it, sure shit, turn it off. Don't care. Could care less. I think my coin phrase was F it for a really long time. But I wanted it to be there for people who did want it because I didn't know how to communicate. And I think for a lot of people, they still are trying to understand, where have you been the last year? Where's your brain been? Because it hasn't been in our friendship or it hasn't been here or there. And and I get that. I totally and I validate that. I think for me, looking back at it, it took 9 months for me to figure out how to survive. It was like day-to-day survival for me. Um, how do I validate this life and this grief and this struggle and the rest of it? I mean, and it maybe is, sick and twisted and stupid, but it was like there were definite times where I thought, this life is not worth living. I'm doing more harm than good to everyone and myself, And I'm sad because I would never do anything that crazy. And, I, of course, called my, psychiatrist, my therapist, and I talked about it, thankfully, because I had that ability to do so with my husband and my care team. But that's where we get, I guess, in this place of being stuffed and being shamed and being quieted. Somebody told me, that was close to me, it's all about your lupus. And I remember, being like, they're probably right. And I remember voicing it to my therapist and her being like, yeah, it's all about your lupus. What the hell else am I supposed to do with your spare time? And I thought, okay, it's valid, but I've got to try harder. And it felt unnatural. It didn't feel right to be anything but my authentic self at this point. I felt if I was going to be this person, it's 100% or it's 0. There ain't no middle ground anymore. It's no old Katie. This is a different Katie. For me, I had boundaries. It was, nope, you're causing havoc in my life. See ya. I was extremely mindful of who was in my life, who wasn't, who I shared with, who I didn't share with, who was safe, who wasn't safe. Very purposefully because I knew how it affected my body. I was listening to my body for once. And I lost a lot of relationships, and that's okay. I mean, I think everybody has to move on and start fresh anyways. I found out who could handle me in the hard times, who would be in the crisis, who's, great supports, and, people support in different ways, and that's fine. And I had to learn that. People had to learn from me that it wasn't that I didn't want to be there for them. It wasn't a malicious thing of me just being like, I'm gonna ignore our friendship because it's fun for me. It was, I wasn't fixed myself at that point. I wasn't whole. I wasn't to a place where I could even give to my family, therefore give to anyone else. The only place I felt safe was speaking to this computer, where nobody else could react in the moment. So, where does that leave us? So yeah, we're still kind of in that journey. I'm currently on Benlista. My hair is faker as can be. I lost it all. Getting plastic surgery in the next month to revise my stomach scar. My lupus is flaring like ever, but I'm only 2 months into it now. I'm not currently working. I'm still fighting my disability claim. 6 months fighting it. Yeah. It's a story, man, and everybody has got their own with lupus. It's not anything pretty. It's not anything with a bow around it, but it is definitely a tale worth telling to be able to understand what the hell this person is coming from. Because you look at me and you are going to have a preconceived notion that she looks healthy. Look at her with her makeup and her hair done and smile. She must be happy. Anybody can do that. And I hate when people say that because am I not allowed to have any fun in my life? Am I not allowed to put makeup? It can't ever, for people, it tends to be very black and white if they've never been in the situation. And for me, my life is so gray. Life is so gray. I don't let anybody make boundaries for me other than me. Because I don't really, the only person I have to answer to at the end of the day on what was right and wrong is that guy. So, honestly, if you don't like, something, whatever, but I don't let it fester on me. I'm like, okay, thank you, next. I mean, it's very different now to the point where I understand emotionally. I'm very emotionally intelligent on people's words and their reactions and what is actually behind what they're saying versus what is being said to me. It's the best thing being sober all the time. To watch people, but it's just become my armor. I guess I just have this armor of this is me, and some people don't like it. It's a different Katie for sure. I'm a fighter. But I've realized that if I don't fight, there's no way back up. And at this point, I've got to fight for Viv. That's why I started this fight. I can't stop it. How do I end this story for her? So I don't know how this ends. Hopefully in a positive way. Coming up on a year of it makes it extremely emotional. This has been the last year of my life. Not wasted, I should say. I know that the social media platform and the things I'm trying to do are positive, yes. But to me, still, I feel like it's still a hard concept for me to swallow, being who I am and what I used to do. And, it's a hard disease to swallow, no matter how you look at it, no matter what kind you do. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no definite cure. There is no perfect pill. I mean, it's just the shittiest of the diseases. And to anybody I can give advice to is own it. Figure out how you're going to celebrate it. Know how you're going to deal with it when it gets hard, and keep moving because it doesn't stop. This is a lifelong disease. I can trick my brain for only so long. I'm happy, and then everything's fine. Again, it's not great for your physical health to pretend you're happy all the time when there's real emotion there. Let me just clarify that. So I've got waves. Yeah, I'm not going to be happy all the time. I'm going to have really sad days. For example, today, I was in a great mood this morning, and we thought we were going to lose Bella this afternoon, my chihuahua that I've had for 8 years, and I about lost my shit. I was I mean, I had black circles down to here. It was just a wreck. For reasons because that dog has been with me longer than Luke and Vivian and has been through some crappy stuff with me, and she's the significant part of my, I mean, like, I get the, if she's ill and she's old, whatever, but it was like things like that come back and slap you in the face and go, how's that make you feel? It's things like that still get me. I think My husband has gotten really great about dealing with this. I mean, can you imagine having for a guy who like sings black and white and laid out in their spots, labeled this life of uncertainty. There's no certainty. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm okay with it. I mean, it worries me for certain reasons, but mostly it doesn't consume me because I'd rather be here today than be worrying today about tomorrow, if that makes sense. Because for me, I hope other people should start living I feel like everybody should have a near-death experience so that they start living like it. But like, I'm super thankful. I think I see a lot more in people now. I want to leave a positive legacy. I want to do something good for this world versus just living in it. Working for, a job that doesn't mean anything to me. I want to help people because people are what matters. And they will shape my daughter someday when I'm not here. And I want to leave a legacy that my daughter can be proud of, can share, and can model. I want her to do the right thing. I don't ever want her to be put in some of the situations I felt like I had to be put in. And I think it was just the times. So let my burdens be a lesson. And that's why I share. When people tell me that I look just fine, I love to show the scars. Like, yeah, thanks. Or, your hair looks great. I'm like, yeah, because I paid for it. To have that kind of sense of realism about a disease that does take a lot, but I know it doesn't. I don't really care what people think, how I care about it. I do my hair for myself. I do my makeup. I can go out here without makeup and I'll scare the shit out of you, but I do it all the time. But I really don't care what your opinion is. I mean, I've had enough people who have said, what's on your face? Or, what happened to your face? And I don't even know in stores when they see my face. I mean, I know it's not attractive. And I've had people disgusted by it. I mean, it's a lot of things to swallow as a human. But if you don't love yourself for who you are, then that just becomes another spiral of damaging, self-inflicted thoughts. So even though the roughs are still rough, they still happen, and things are not perfect, and there's still a lot of stuff going on. Overall, lupus is lifelong, so this will never end, and I'm okay with that, and I know that. What I'm trying to do here is really just to share where I started from and why this platform of Katie Loves Lupus came to be, because this was nothing that I would have ever done prior to my ulcer. I wouldn't even talk about it because it's shameful. You don't want people to think that you're less than, or you aren't as bright, or you aren't as great because you've got lupus. Hell, I am cooler because I have lupus than you who don't. Just kidding. But people have to respect the fact that we have disabilities and they are real and they are detrimental and they can kill us and they are life-altering things. And we don't know the battles that people are fighting. You wouldn't know from just looking at me that I have lupus and that I am fighting these battles. So if anything, yeah, you can't predict what's going on in their lives or what diseases or what, but you can be kind. You can respect people. You can give people the benefit of the doubt. You can make the world a better place. You can teach your child manners and to do the same. And you can start practicing those behaviors. For me, that was one of the biggest things I started to try to do was to thank people, to show gratitude, and to be mindful of the fight that I have no idea about. Because I used to be that person. And the last thing I needed was another person coming at me with a power play, right? Like I used to do. It was my bullying behavior. And now I bully or I yell for things that are legally right, when I'm talking about like my human rights or my insurance rights or my, things like that, things for my disability that are legal and what are my rights. Those are things that I will fight and scream for. But I'm not going to fight you over a drink. I'm not going to give anybody the benefit of trying to make a battle when there's no battles to be fought. Be a bigger person, believe in karma, and be thankful. Life doesn't always make sense, but some days it does. Last comment. So after the Bella thing today, I was bawling so hard, right? I got in my car and I went to go light a cigarette because I needed to smoke because I was literally a shit show. I'm like, and I don't smoke in my car, and I was just something I had to do, right? So I'm standing by this garbage can at the gas station, smoking, looking. I'm sure, like, crisis 95 has hit me. What that is, I don't even know. This guy comes up. He's like 18 or 19, right? And he's got cash in it. He's like, hey, did you drop something? And I thought I had dropped something in my pocket into the trash. And I was like, kind of like looking like, shit, did I drop my cigs or my phone in the trash? I didn't do either, but I was looking in there. Here I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy thinks that I'm digging through the trash. I was like, oh my God, you are so kind. But no, I'm sorry. I'm just smoking. I just had a really bad day. That's my car. I'm good. I just don't smoke. And he's like, I just didn't know. I didn't know if you were looking in the trash for cigarettes. And I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I'm like, you are such a sweet human and kind and caring about others. I got it. He's like, okay, have a better day tomorrow. I mean, that kind of thing, like, there I go. There was my bumper. It was like, yeah, shit, greatness, shit, greatness, shit. I mean, it's constant. We gotta remember those, like, constant greatnesses. Because for people with lupus, especially chronic diseases, it feels like a domino game for us. We're just waiting for it to hit. So, treasure the people like that and tell them how amazing they are, and don't put up with bullshitters. Call them out. Don't let them treat people like crap. I've started that crap too. Like at bars, if I hear people, I'm like, shut the, I don't tolerate people who are intolerable because it's just a waste of their time and everybody else's. If they can't smack their own decision to their face, I will. I'm gonna get punched one of these days. But I'm on a mission to help, and I'm on a mission to love humankind. And right now, what I can give is what I know, and what I know is lupus. And hopefully that's enough for now. And my future will always entail giving to some extent. I don't care what it is, but that's what my life will have to consist of, I think, for me to remain, to feel like I've got purpose. God kept me alive for a reason, so figured it was because I was loud and noisy and dramatic and the perfect person to have lupus. So that's my tale. So when you see the page, you're going to see a lot of different small videos. This is why Katie Loves Lupus was born. It was born out of sheer panic and need to share and support, and couldn't find the resource. There was Katie Loves Lupus because I hated lupus, but I thought it was a funny play. Me having the sixth sense of humor I do. And it was just me being real. And I'm being real with you today. Again, this is my journey. I'm no doctor. I'm no professional. This is my personal and individual story of my interactions with lupus. So take it for its grain worth, but I wanted to be able to give people the story from start to end in one video versus the chop of the story. The random things that happen. So that is the larger picture of this shitty disease. So this will be part 1, and I'm going to try to get my husband Luke. I've not shared him on my social media, or my mother, for sheer facts of this is my story, and it's very difficult for me to allow people to share it on my behalf like speak it. You know what I mean? Because for someone who lived such a traumatic 9 months, for someone to say those words for me or to try, I don't know. It's just it's weird. It's very personal to me because it was such a mind fuck. So I have a hard time when people talk about it as if they know. Not that they do, but this platform has been very specifically just my story, and so I have not brought them on for that reason of I just didn't feel like opening those doors. But I think it's very important to the story and to my background to bring in my caregiver, my husband, and his thoughts during this time. So I'll be interviewing him, and then um, I'm gonna try and talk my mom into it as well and see if, from an outsider who is a caretaker and a mother with an adult child who has lupus, how she feels, where she struggles, what she needed that I didn't give her, or what she wished she would have been equipped with. I think it will be very interesting perspectives. So hopefully you guys find this useful. So there's my story, and it's not the entirety of it because there's just a lot of shit that happened, and we don't have enough time in the world for that. Some of it I just don't want to share. Some of it is still raw and real, and I share a lot, man. You guys know more, and you see me more than anybody else. Got no hair, got no makeup. I share a lot, and so the things that I choose to keep personal, I choose to. But I think now you understand the bulk of why I'm here and why I'm screaming about loving lupus. So hopefully this helps you or a loved one. Again, it's my story. I'm no doctor.